Welcome to another episode of Game Opponents Presents Uninterrupted. We're here with the gang back for another show. We're going to be discussing some topics, including the Toronto Raptors. They win the championship and they finally dethroned the Warriors. What are the implications for Toronto? Does Kawhi stay now? We're going to talk a little bit about that. We have Aaron Rodgers slander, and I know Sarah's fired up to talk about that. And we're going to have on a special segment where we're going to be talking about our favorite video games and characters. Is it characters? Sarah, is it? You're my show notes.
Yeah.
Is it characters?
Yeah, it's characters.
So, yeah, we'll talk about that, and I'm pretty sure our conversation is going to get pretty weird pretty quick. Let's go around the virtual room and introduce everybody. We know, obviously, Sarah's with us, our lovely Sarah. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Looking to my left, I see Mr. Jake donning a new hat. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. How are you doing, man?
Looking good, man. I mean, you're really you look really dapper in your hat. Like really, really nice.
Thanks,
We
man.
also have an newly and improved, it might say, in HD definition, perhaps. Miss Nikki, how are you?
Hello, can you hear me? Do I sound amazing?
Huh?
You sound like one of those call girls in those telephones things where they're like, "Hey, I'm unbuttoning my clothes right now."
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Brittany, and I just got off work.
Hi, my name is Starfish, and
Good choice
my
in the name
bra
Brittany,
just
though, for real.
broke.
I know.
Brittany slander to come. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Also, as a special correspondent, even though he is a little bit under the weather, is Mr. Boston Cream. He's joining us back for another episode. How you doing, Mr. Cream?
What is going on, guys? Just like Jordan did in Game 5, I am playing with the flu.
MVP.
Sure. And we cannot forget our lovely and our lovable teddy bear. He is the heart and soul of the show, Mr. Austin Whittle. Mr. Whittle, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
So much better now that I hear your voice. Let's keep it moving, guys. Let's talk a little bit about the Toronto Raptors winning the NBA championship. They are world champs, and they finally took down the Warriors, who seemed like they basically ran out of players towards the end.
No,
So-
that's literally exactly
That's basically what happened. You know, they just ran out of players. Iggy was hurt. Durant went down. Clay went down. It was just basically Steph Curry and a couple of plumbers. So, with that being said, give me some thoughts on this Toronto championship. What does it mean for the city of Toronto, and what does it mean for Kawhi? And whoever wants to take it away, speak up.
Well, just right off the bat, the championship for Toronto is huge because they haven't had a championship up there since the '90s, and they have to deal with the Maple Leafs, who haven't won shit for 54 years. So, the fact that a Toronto team, managed to pull out a championship this year, especially the Raptors, who many thought wouldn't really do much, and once Kawhi got there, and LeBron left, you knew that this team could go far, but the fact that they actually did it is kind of surprising.
Yeah, absolutely. And Donut, you're a Canadian. You are probably eating a donut right now. What are your thoughts on Canada finally winning something? Anything at all?
It's a big thing for Canada. Our first major national championship, or since I believe it was 1993.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
it is.
Jays,
Since the non-beloved Maple Leafs won.
No.
Right? No, the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays
Yes.
and the Montreal Canadiens. I
Maple
believe.
Leafs haven't won since like the telegraph was invented.
So what's the feeling over there in Canada town?
It was pretty cool to watch, like almost all Canadians line up and watch the final. I don't know, 2,000 people, they said, took the streets of Toronto.
2,000 or 200,000?
They said 2 million.
Oh, what to say? I was like
Well,
2,000.
that's a huge difference.
I was like,
crap.
that's like a parking lot the Stop and Shop. That doesn't fill anything. 2,000 people. Yeah, 2 million people. I mean, that's insane. I saw pictures of the parade, and it looked absolutely insane, absolutely crazy how much
But
everything was up.
it did get crazy. Hopefully everybody who was affected by the shooting there is safe and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Prayers up. Hopefully, everybody makes a safe recovery for the shooting. You always hate that happen when it's supposed people are celebrating. I guess we're lucky. That's one thing. You can't say anything about Boston. At least any riots haven't broken down or anything like that when we win championships. Act like you've been there, people. Act like you've won a title before, even if you haven't. Just pretend.
It wasn't at like a parade or anything like that, but there was a thing that happened at the marathon. But
it's absolutely unfortunate. All right, so let's keep it rolling, guys. And I want to see and talk to you guys a little bit. And Donut, you can follow up on this. What do you think this means for Kawhi? Do you think this means he's going to stay now, or do you think he doesn't owe Toronto anything and he can move on?
It sounds like he's going to leave. I think someone who wanted to stay would talk a little bit more about us and this city and what it means for him and this team. And he kind of is talking more about this is a big thing for Toronto, and he's happy to bring them a championship. So it kind of sounds like he's gone. I don't know. He might not be dejected, but it kind of sounds like his heart is somewhere else.
Yeah, it does. Awesome. What about you?
I feel like that's always just what Kawhi's been. Kawhi's a robot. He doesn't all like the memes of the fun man and stuff like that. That's just who Kawhi is and always has.
Indubitably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like he doesn't show emotion. Like he's not going to say like he doesn't want to give up details about his life. I mean, people didn't even know fucking Kawhi had a kid the other day until like yesterday, because he just never talks about it and stuff like that.
All I know is that Kawhi has the craziest laugh, and today he did again at the parade.
That shit's hilarious.
Yeah, it was great.
Fun of it.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Jake.
Yes.
What about you? What do you think? Do you think Kawhi leaves now?
I really don't know. Because the word was he wants to go to the Clippers, and I kind of just look at the Clippers, and off the top of my head, who's there? What would he gain from going to the Clippers? I think there's more of a chance now, especially where they won a championship, that he stays in Toronto. And just to go back to what Donut was saying about he won them a championship and won Toronto, that's what all athletes basically say.
The Clippers, nobody's at the Clippers, and that's what makes the Clippers the Clippers. They went to the playoffs and they only beat one, but they only won one game, but they beat a fully healthy Warriors team in the first round. So
yeah, and they came back 30 points, something like that. They won 134 to 131 or whatever. And Patrick Beverley was their best player.
And he's their version of Marcus Smart.
I don't know.
It just doesn't make sense for him to go to the Clippers. He won't go to the Lakers despite all the Lakers fans' dreams. I do think he stays in the East. I think he'll realize eventually that his best shot at potentially getting another championship would be with being in Toronto. Although you gotta think about what they gotta do with Siakam eventually, and it might not be worth it for Toronto in the end. But I think
I saw something earlier today that it was like that they could have everybody that like the main people who would be paid under contract for the whole team.
Yeah, it just depends on
Kawhi.
Eventually, when you're that deep, players are going to get paid, and they're going to lose pieces. So they're not going to be able to keep everybody on that team. You have to know that Fred VanVleet is going to get paid. Siakam is going to get paid. He's a young up-and-coming player. I mean, Kyle Lowry, I don't know how old he is, but he's not getting any younger.
34.
I think. Yeah, so they're obviously going to need.
They're talking about trading him.
Yeah, so they're going to need something at the point guard position. So Toronto has some interesting decisions coming up with or without Kawhi. All I got to know is this for Toronto. The guy got you a championship. Either way, it was worth getting him. He got him a championship, right? If the goal is to win a title, he got you the title. Whether he leaves or stay, I don't think Toronto would be mad at him. Either way, regardless of what happens, whether he ends up in LA or not. Let's keep it rolling now, and let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was reported taking some passive-aggressive shots at his newly head coach, and I think I didn't get to read fully into the details of what exactly was said, but it was brought up by Mike Florio from Pro Football. And let's just take it to our Aaron Rodgers expert, Sarah. Miss Sarah Sarmar.
Yes,
Sarah,
that's
Sarah
me.
Mar.
Yeah.
Please lead us off and tell us exactly what is it that Aaron Rodgers said and why we should slander him for it.
I think, okay, so first of all, is anyone actually surprised about this?
No, not in the slightest.
Okay.
Not really.
Yeah, because like when I think, isn't that what the tweet, what was it that? Yeah, I think it was the Pro Football Talk Twitter that sent it out, like as if anyone would be surprised. Like everyone knew that this was going to happen because the new coach was not the right coach to be the Packers coach. But I think the main problem was that he wasn't getting enough, like, what was the word that they used? He wanted to be able to like change the play or call the plays his way instead of having to like listen to the coach and stay in the pocket, whatever. Like he wanted more freedom, and he was saying something about you can't just turn off 11 years of playing and whatever. And I'm just like, dude, I'm surprised it honestly took this long for anything to come out about him having a problem with coach, because I figured it was going to be right away. Started off badly anyway because he wasn't even there to like greet him as he was named the new coach, wasn't even at the stadium. So yeah, this isn't surprising. I'm not at all shocked that he's having issues with this dude. I think it's going to continue into the regular season, and I can't wait for Rodgers to fail and for all of his little minions to come out and make all sorts of excuses for him for having another sucky season, but still try to convince you all that he's better than Tom Brady.
Well, let me just start off with this, because the Packers GM, when he hired Matt LaFleur, he spoke to Rodgers on the phone. He says, "You're going to listen to him. This is our guy. You're going to like it." And all Aaron Rodgers could say was, "Oh." And you got to remember, Aaron Rodgers single-handedly kind of brought the Packers down by audibling his way out of situations, or perhaps into situations where he put the offense at a disadvantage, where he wants his receivers to do this rather than running the routes that they're taught, running the routes that they're coached, running the plays that they're coached to do. Famously, he had the Jared Cook reception that beat the Cowboys back in 2016. Yeah, that worked out for him. What have they done since? They've done nothing. And that's the reason why Mike McCarthy's out of town. So it doesn't surprise me that Aaron Rodgers is now beefing with this new head coach, because this new head coach is trying to go in and trying to cement himself not only in the locker room, but in the entire fan base of Green Bay. He's trying to be the coach, trying to be the leader, something that they haven't had in a long time, basically because that rift between Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. Now it's the same thing with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. And who knows what's going to happen, but Aaron Rodgers kind of needs to get his act together and just say, hey, you know what? Let me listen to my coach this time, because the last time I listened to my coach, we won a Super Bowl and we made it to the playoffs. Now I'm not listening to my coach and we're not doing anything. He's not getting any younger. He's 36.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing, too. The coach is going to have to come in there and he has to try and deal with Rodgers for however long left they have him. And then he's going to want to remain the coach. So he's going to have to prepare for after him. So, like, he's not just going to come in and be like, yeah, Rodgers, do whatever you want. We're just going to listen to you because you're the coach. Like, that's not how it's going to work.
Yeah, when you're a big shot, I get it. You want to be in charge. But when you're literally the only one in charge being paid millions of dollars, and you have Devontae Adams and who?
And that's your fault because you wanted to have the biggest contract in history, but
Like, sorry, your defense sucks now because you decided to take $160 million or whatever the hell it was. Like, my God.
Yep.
And you want to bitch about your coach. Go look in the mirror, bro.
All I know is that it's way too early for Aaron Rodgers to be saying an absolute goddamn thing, because it's just incredible.
It's public.
The gall that this guy has to literally bring out. I mean, can you let the coach before you start, taking passive aggressive shots at your coach? I'm sorry, but a tiger doesn't change his stripes, and to me, there's nothing different. You guys can. Everybody was piggybacking on Mike McCarthy. It was his fault. This is all on him. If this happens again, and it's a different coach, how do you defend Aaron Rodgers?
This is a very defining season for him. It's going to whatever this is going to define him, I feel like, because you got what you wanted. You got your coach fired. You said you didn't get along. He didn't listen to you, blah, 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 blah. And now if you get a new coach and you still bomb, who are you going to blame now? Because you're the common denominator here. There's no one left to blame.
You know what's funny? That Packers fans decide to forget they needed the league's best secondary to carry them to a Super Bowl, and they still almost lost. Especially.
You know what's funny? Packers fan going after Florio because they talked bad about their quarterback. like, oh, like is that he doesn't get along with his coach. It's like he literally had a bad relationship with McCarthy. It's a no.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
no
That
fact.
started from
McCarthy
when
said-
he was
yeah.
drafted.
Yeah, McCarthy said he'd take Alex Smith over Aaron Rodgers. Like,
Yeah.
you can't get over that comment. Like, he literally apologized for saying that to his face. And, like, I get it. You want to use it as a chip on your shoulder, but to be just some narcissistic bitch about it and to still
For
just
how
hold
many
that
years
grudge.
too?
What, 13 years, something
Look
like
at
that? Yeah.
look at your
Well, no,
career
no.
compared to
He was-
Alex Smith's career. Who do you think got
Yeah.
it better?
Yeah, like I get it. Guys have chips on their shoulders. Julian Edelman, chip on his shoulder because he was a seventh-round draft pick. Tom Brady because he was a sixth-round draft pick. Aaron Rodgers because he had to sit in the green room for 4 hours at the 24th pick. I get it. And then the whole Brett Favre situation that doesn't even need to be talked about. I understand it. But when you just turn that chip on your shoulder into resentment, that's just childish. It's childish.
It's just that it's a bad way, you know. Tom Brady, you can say whatever you want, but Tom Brady uses all the motivation against him, and he turns it into a positive. Aaron Rodgers turns all the negativity thrown at him and turns it into a negative.
It's the world
It's
against them.
clearly it affects the team, it affects coaches, it affects players around him. And look, I'm sorry, he could be the most talented spiral thrower in the world. I mean, his spiral could look like a fucking honeymoon. But if you can't get your shit together and your intangibles as part of the team, as part of being a quarterback, to actually correlate that into success on the field, then that's why he's not in my top 5, because I think intangibles is part of it, and his intangibles are terrible. He's got terrible intangibles. Okay, he inherited a loaded team that was basically given to him the keys, and he took him and made him really good, and he had really good seasons, and he's a really outstanding quarterback, really is. But a lot of the shit that goes off against him is not because of the Packers fans or because of the media. It's because he brings it on himself.
Yeah, you also got to remember that the Packers didn't really do him any favors by trying to load up in free agency because they did like to build to the draft with their own old GM and whatnot. So they have changed that around in the past few years. But even then, like,
yeah, it's unexcusable.
But see, like as we've said before, and I know we probably want to wrap this up, it's like the Brady thing. Like Brady doesn't get top receivers, and he takes people and turns them into good players for their team. Doesn't matter what they do once they leave the Patriots. So it's like, well, then what's your excuse? Why aren't they playing well for you? They don't have to have amazing stats. As long as they can, if you respect them and you give them the chance, just because their name's not Antonio Brown doesn't mean they can't be good for you.
And it means because the thing is that Tom Brady holds you accountable, and he holds himself accountable more than any other player in that locker room. So that's why people can follow his leadership and go into the culture. And that's why a lot of people don't understand. You need accountability in order to be a successful quarterback. And if I'm taking myself accountable for my mistakes as well as everybody else's, then other people and other players who are grown ass men will see right through that. If you're just being an egotistical asshole who just likes to point fingers, they'll see through that too.
Yep.